So each of them, again, we make a return of the nested if statement. It's going to have an if statement inside of them as well. And what we're checking is essentially, has this person gone back to 0? So if you move the joystick to the left, let's say you're trying to fix the pitch, and you move the joystick all the way forward, and you leave it there, and all you're checking is whether the joystick is forward, you're gonna do, and then the computer is doing this really fast. You're gonna be doing this over and over and over and over, and you're gonna have compensated forward so much that now your robot is leaning forward too much. So in order to prevent that, we want to make the driver, the flyer, have to go back to 0 and then press it forward again. That way, it's a conscious decision that they're trying to increase the trim even more. So that's what we're doing here. This is a variable that is defined inside the library, trim pitch increase. Since the pitch is greater than 90, that means that we're pressing the joystick forward. That means that we're trying to trim it and increasing it. So then this variable is not going to be equal to this variable, right? So the first time you go in, it's 0. Now, what we're going to put inside of it, it's kind of ensuring that it's not going to increase again if we don't remove our finger from it. And how we do that is we set this variable that we're checking right here equal to this thing right here. So the next time through the loop, if we haven't moved our finger, it's going to go here. It's going to go, oh yes, pitch is still greater than 90. Oh, but these two things are not, they're now equal to each other, so I can't do this. And it's going to skip it. Again, this ensures that the person is resetting their fingers back to what they're supposed to be instead of just keeping their finger there and causing the robot to overtrim. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to set all the variables equal to 0. So throttle, pitch, roll, and yaw. Back to their original position. And finally, we're going to send a command. And this command is going to be so that we increase the trim on pitch up, or increasing it. So the keywords for this are up and down. So if you want to decrease the pitch on that, you say down. If you want to increase it, you say up. In this case, we are trying to increase it. Yeah, so this is going to be the standard look for most of the other statements, except that we're going to be changing the insides, right? So instead of checking for trim pitch increase, we're going to check trim pitch decrease here, right? And we're checking, and this variable doesn't change because it's still the previous pitch. However, inside of that if statement, we're setting this equal to trim pitch decrease. So if you put your finger up, if you pull your joystick back to decrease the trim on the pitch, and then you put it forward all the way, your previous and your current are not the same anymore, right? Because this one is still in decrease, and then it will go in this one and say, oh, is decrease the same as increase? And the answer is no. Increasing and decreasing is not the same. And so in here we reset everything to 0, and now trim pitch down. Down being the keyword. So for a roll, it's going to look similar. So you have the same nested if statement. You do something here to set the variable equal to what it's checking. You reset the things to 0. However, when roll, at least with the way the drone microcontroller is set up, whenever the roll is greater than 90, the trim is going to be decreased. So we're checking decrease. It's kind of counterintuitive compared to pitch, but this has to do a lot with the way things are connected more than anything. So you might have to play with this just to make it feel better with the way you have things set up, but this is how mine is. Yeah, so we set the variable and then it has its own function. So pitch had trim pitch. This one has trim roll. For negative roll, we're going to have the opposite, which is increase the trim. So is this variable equal to trim increase? Trim roll increase? Again, pretty similar. Change here to up. Right?
And yaw, so this is for roll. Yaw kind of goes back into the way it should be. Let's change that to what it should be. Which is the idea that as I increase the uh, as I increase the yaw is positive, I'm gonna increase the trim, which is the case right here. So trim yaw increase being the variable associated with yaw. We're gonna check it against the previous event yaw. If they're not equal to each other, we're gonna set them equal to each other, set all the uh, terms to 0, and then increase the trim on yaw. Again, this is not necessarily hard. It's just a lot of things that we're checking and a lot of busy work that we're doing in order to ensure that trimming doesn't over happen. Now I have an extra bracket right here. Oh, never mind. Wait, I do have an extra bracket. So I'm gonna delete. Wait, no, that was a good bracket. Never mind. Sorry. Again, it's just a lot of busy work that's happening in order to ensure that trimming is happening on our terms and not um, by accident because we're keeping our fingers in the wrong locations. Uh, so maybe you can come up with a system in order to make this look nicer where you don't have to nest things or anything. But this is the way that made the most sense and that kept everything in a easy to follow way. Um, yaw greater than 90, trim yaw up. Yaw less than 90, trim yaw down. Yeah, well, let's just compile it real quick to make sure that everything is working. Yes, whatever. And it's not. What did I mistake? Include. I misspelled include. So let's fix that right now. Is that the only issue? Will you work? Say yes. Yes, it works. Okay, so that's it for today. Hopefully, this helped your drone fly a lot steadier than it's done in the past. I know that I had a lot of issues until I implemented this, and all of a sudden I was able to fly the drone for a lot longer and a lot more fun with it. So not just crashing. So if you have any comments, any suggestions, any thoughts, concerns, feedback, feel free to contact us and let us know. Have a good one and thank you for watching. Later.